The Psych Ward, Planet Earth, We Are Live, I'm Maxed Out, Architects of Humanity. And the moon mission is an IQ test, basically. Just the way the war and everything else. When you have a country that is in a state that America is in right now, you start to think to yourself, wow. So basically, there is, it's okay for things not to be funded over here. And when you look at it, you start to say to yourself, like, well, wait a second. There, the moon. I don't know if people have looked this up. The moon has a $100 billion budget. It says 90 billion up to 2025, right? And the Artemis 2 costing over 4 billion each, 2026 to 2027. And then add in another 8.5 billion for Artemis, featuring 175 million for a lunar base now, and aims for a 30 billion investment over the next decade to build a lunar South Pole base, which we know this is Fantasy Island, right? And it gets to where they're pushing 100 billion. And magically, nobody seems to care. That's the IQ test. That's the laws of stupidity, man. We're the few people that can still think for ourselves. Mr. Rex, brother, good to hear you, man. Good to hear you. Ragamuffin Vision, good to see you, man. Yeah, don't forget about the political kickbacks, man. It's easy for us to, we say, okay, we know the moon missions are usually staged. It's just, who I see guys actually trying to defend this. They're trying, they're trying, and I already showed it on here that the spiritual advisor to the president just got off with 6 months for grape of a 12-year-old. Now, a grapist is just a horrible, horrible monster on the regular note. But to do that to a 12-year-old for years and only get 4 years and then get out in 6 months, and then you find out this guy's the president's former spiritual advisor, it makes you really think about the accusations that's on the press. But they're launching a make-believe rocket to the moon. That's $100 billion. When they say they're wanting a $30 billion investment, that's coming from thieving that money from the people. Flint, Michigan still doesn't have drinkable water from Trump's first term. And of course, I don't trust any politician. Scribe, what's up, man? Good to see you.
What's going on, bro? Yeah, like you were saying earlier, they're saying, look out there, look up there. That's where we want to go. Musk is like, yo, I'm gonna make a thing on Mars, even though we haven't done anything there. Suppose there's a rover on there, but I don't believe that. But they're saying, by saying go out there and look out there, makes me believe more that they don't want us to see what's here. Like you were saying before about the oceans, to where now we see these UFOs. They call them USOs, underwater submersible. Well, it's the same thing. That's what's funny. They have a different word for it: USO, UFO, and all these other all these other acronyms for it. But it's the same vehicle that's able to fly in the air and able to go into the water with its own field around it, so it's not affected by the physics of the earth. The harsh climate or whatever it is. So what does that mean, basically? That means we have reached a point to where now we're starting to understand those higher level of technology, because we ourselves are getting closer and being introduced to AI and everything else. But they want you to look out there instead of seeing what's here. And yeah, probably a lot of it would be an underwater type of situation the more I think about it. But yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
What's going on, Mr. X?
What's going on, Scribe, MD? Great stuff, Hey, I'm just wondering what they're going to come out with on this dark side of the moon. If they're going to try and use it for propaganda or not, I guess time will tell.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. And you're right. Now that the sports betting is legal in most states, the ball chasing zombies are worse than ever. You're so right, man.
And I'm guilty of it too. I mean, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. During football season, I'm guilty. So,
Yeah, I mean, we all. I mean, it's reality. It's not even reality. It's the oppression that they push on people. It makes it so bad that people have to have some type of an outlet. It
yeah.
It's crazy. And then in the midst of things that need to be taken care of in this country, and you see them launching another make believe space. Oh, we're gonna go here. Nietzsche said it best. Everything the state says is a lie. Everything
Hmm.
they've stolen. There's no such thing as government funded. It's all taxpayer funded. It just extortion of the citizen, man.
And I got to thank you, MD, for making me aware of the zombies because just like 30 minutes ago, a coworker was talking to me saying, people don't think we went to the moon, back in the 60s. They're freaking nuts, man. Bunch of conspiracy nuts, blah, blah. I didn't even argue with him because, I thank you for that because you taught me the zombies, you can't, you can't get to them. They'll
Yeah.
attack. So I just nod my head and say, yeah, no, it's all crazy. There's no point in even having a conversation.
Exactly. That's the smartest engagement you can have with them because they'll eat the thoughts. They'll eat the
Yeah.
thoughts right out of your mind. That's what they're looking for. It's like that guy saying that is saying, I'm looking to kind of devour somebody's thoughts. And I have friends that, I mean, the way they're actually, I don't even say nothing. I see them on comments and stuff, and now they're saying they're putting up stuff like, oh well, people were marrying 10-year-olds back in the turn of the century. It's like, it's, I mean, it's horrible. It's really horrible because they're saying this to try to justify the PDF files in government.
Hmm.
And it just, they have some guys, even though they're democratic zombies, they're still political zombies. But it's just like Hovind will call out evolutionists but still be zombified with religion, and these guys are still zombified, but they pose questions to the right, and then they'll say, well, this was said by Trump, what do you think? And it'll be said by somebody else, and they'll agree, but then when they hear it's like a Democrat, then oh well, and they'll change right there. I mean, the IQ test, the critical thinking is gone. It's
Yes.
very rare to find it. Very rare.
We can't change it. We can't change it. We just can know, we just can be educated about it, but changing it, that's an impossibility.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
will always be here.
I don't know if you heard about the 4-star general that Trump was just saying there were 4 colonels, full bird colonels up for promotion, 2 black men, 2 black women to be 1-star generals. Trump told the 4-star general to take them off the list. He refused. Now he's removed from his position, and they're saying, if it's correct, 30 other generals are refusing to put boots on the ground in Iran. They're all being replaced now.
Wow. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, this just came out. I'll double check it. And again, the moon mission, I mean, it's such a distraction, and it's $100 billion distraction. People aren't even complaining about the war cost, Cuba, Venezuela, Greenland, and now $100 billion, 90 billion plus little tack-ons here and there. And then the 10 billion he just took to rebuild Gaza. And it's like, wait, so you're funding the destruction and now you're going to it's like, and all of this is just stealing from the common man's money. I think the deficit just hit, I think like 29 trillion or something.
Hmm.
What's the US deficit? And it just, I mean, this is,
Remember,
it's
and
crazy.
it's off interest that doesn't exist either. When they make you to pay for something that's worth 1,000, now they want 10,000 because they inflated the interest to 25% or whatever.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just doesn't equate to real work or anything else. It's interest. So you have enough money, you can sit on interest. You don't have to work a day in your life. I mean, you can just live off the interest alone. So the majority of people don't have that luxury of assets like that. So they're stuck in the grind,
Mhm.
and that's where they want majority of people. You're in that grind. So that's really what this is all about. It's not really the money doesn't even have any value anymore anyway because it's pretty much paper. They've taken away the platinum strip that used to be in the $20 bill. Remember those days in the 90s?
Mhm.
So that's gone. So now the Deutsche Mark is gone. It's all euro. All these bills that used to have real value, real precious metals in them are gone. So now you're dealing with paper money, and Western Union is us, Eastern EU, and then WU is us, pretty much since the embargo with Cuba and all that. So they pretty much conquered the whole entire thing. And it happened recently within our lifetime. We got to see the conquering of the Middle East here in Panama, where I'm at. Got to see that firsthand. It was terrifying, crazy, traumatized the hell out of me. But I was at least luckily I was in my dad's Air Force, was on a nice base and everything, but you could hear the explosions all night long, and just I can only imagine what's going on there. But
Mhm.
and then get to see some of the tech that they used, 9/11 and Iraq and Afghanistan. It's just it sucks.
It's
But at the
crazy.
same time, it's intriguing to learn, to see this happen. It's like this is not in the movies. This is not even real life. What is this? This is beyond anything they've ever told me.
I
Truth is stranger
remember
than fiction. When you witness that,
Mhm.
yeah.
when we would stay out in the field and they would fire the Vulcan. It was like 3,000 rounds, like within a minute, and it would just be like brrr, like just I mean faster than anything. It was unbelievable. And then when the M1 tanks would fire, I remember we would feel the pant legs where it meets the boot. It would buckle out. It had that much of an effect. You're like, whoa! I felt it, because you have to blouse your boots, stick your pants in your boots, and you know, just thinking of that and being like, wow, we're out here living in the field, training, and
Your
you
your
know,
your 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 experience was actually somewhat positive but scary. You actually got to see what it feels like to shoot something like that. I was on the receiving side. We're like on the base, but they're trying to break in the base and they're trying to shoot, in the base or mortar the base, whatever the hell it is. We're
well,
like
it really
in
was
the
horrible.
house, and then I'm looking out the window. My dad's like, "Don't be, stay away from the windows." But I'm looking at the window. I'm looking at my neighbor's house and their carport. It's like 2, 3 story houses,
Yeah, because
and they're like
snipers.
concrete. And I'm looking down there, and there's like 4 dudes underneath the cars, and like snipe. Yeah, it's like what? Yeah. So I'm like,
Mhm.
9 or 10. I'm thinking like, what in the world? You know? And
It's
then
crazy.
hearing the possibility that they could come in and do something. Just that feeling, and can't sleep. You're in a traumatized state. Like, what if they get closer, and what if they
Yeah,
accidentally hit our house or something?
yeah,
So it's
having to live with that, man. Yeah, and yeah, thanks, Mr. X. I'm glad. Yeah, you handled the zombies. I'm happy to assist with.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I give you all the credit in the world. You had to ingrain it into my brain, but it stuck and it kept me from having a conversation I don't want to have personally. You know what I mean? Yeah.
The fact that he brought that up, because I've heard like people come out with, they're trying to really make excuses for why they went in the 60s, and I'm seeing like a lot of people like post stuff, and I'm just like, wow, they are scraping the side of the pool trying to explain everything, and they're basically, I mean, with the whole
Andy,
president.
I don't see him as trying to explain anything. I'm seeing them as weaving this, creating this false narrative, this fake thing, so that we believe it. Just like the weapons of mass destruction, when they made up all those fake lies. Of, oh yeah, they got all this stuff, and here's the what do you call it? The file. You can see the caves, and they have all the bombs, whatever. So then you find out that that wasn't even, the fact that it even came out to say it wasn't even true. It's like they can't even contain that. And so
Mhm.
they can't. Nothing can be really perfect. Look at 9/11. You saw a lot of inconsistencies and a lot of botched up, timing, saying that building 7 came down before it came down, but that was in UK, I think. So I think the time difference that they got it wrong or something. But you'll see these inconsistencies. So it doesn't mean that these people are that perfect. You're always going to see some weird, like in the Matrix, we see the deja vu of the cat. You see the cat going backwards, like he sees the, 10 frames with the cat walking or whatever. He knows that the agents are coming. Like they reset the server. So, but if you got to catch it right then and there, if you don't catch it, you won't know, and they'll come in and take you. So that was pretty insane.
But we also have
So
the most advanced military in the world, and look who our enemy is: a guy in a cave with a beard.
well,
It's like they're
that's what they
insulting us.
claim. That's
They're
what they
insulting
claim.
us.
It's like,
They think we're stupid, which they're actually right, but not us, but the others.
Yeah,
you're
it's
saying
in
if that call came from the outside and we're taking orders, the U.S. taking orders, right? The arm of this monarchy or whatever, then we would have to play the stupid game exactly because we're not fighting for our own intelligence. We're doing this based off some other, outside force that's created this. That's literally like when David X says problem action solution, they create a problem. Well, they create a problem. We reacted, and their solution was to go and take out, those countries.
But the
So
thing is, we've gotten so far advanced now as a society with the internet and all the access to information. It makes me think that the next false flag that they do has got to be something massive, something on a very large scale.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the fact that
well, you're seeing it right now.
yeah.
Could be an alien invasion or something. We'll see, ships and
Oh,
stuff.
I wouldn't put it past them for faking the moon mission thing to say, "Oh, look, we found aliens." Any freaking thing so people will look away from the pedo stuff on the whole president cabinet. What did he fire Pam Bondi or something because she was hiding like some of the pictures or something they were saying? I mean, it's like a freaking soap opera.
It is.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, and the racism is just off the handle. I mean, they're playing videos of JD Vance. I guess it was during Trump's first term, and he goes, "Yeah." He was talking about he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "He's got a lot of racist tendencies," and JD Vance has an Indian wife, so now of course he's just pro Klan basically. But before he was criticizing Trump on his racial stance, and so was many other people that are now there. His whole cabinet, everybody is a billionaire. I think it's like 13 billionaires. It's freaking the country is
Remember,
$37 trillion in debt. Who the hell do we owe $37 trillion to? It's just theft. That's crazy.
If you look at your bill, any bill, it'll say this is to pay a debt. So it's not actually credit money or actual money. It's not even. It's not even money. It's to pay a debt you already owe.
It can be eliminated with a thought to say, "Hey, we're not paying. What is it? People, oppressors in the country, people." I mean, everything, and I guess this is because I've been used to just saying, "Screw it, I'm breaking the rules." As a kid, I knew. It's like you're trying to tell me these guys are good. And I notice how some people still cling to it. Well, JF Kennedy, they're all evil. There's never been one, and they cling on to this, and it's so sad. It's so sad when I look at it. I'm like,
but let's be fair. Your perspective is that they're evil because you know that they're taking on a puppet master's orders, and if he fulfills those orders, he's an evil man. All right. But in his mind,
even if
he's
he
like, "Oh, I
does,
got top position. I'm fulfilling my orders," just like a marketing company selling baby food that has arsenic or something bad in the mix that it's bad for babies or humans, or McDonald's or whatever. They
none
know
of
they're good.
us are innocent.
So
Howard Zinn said it best in the a power that governments cannot oppress, and he also wrote the Young People's History of America. And he said there comes a point where you start to think that our great grandfathers basically made a deal with the devil. And it really starts to be like, hey, it's not to blame anybody. It's to say, look, man, this is the entire planet. It's like it's been taken over under military jurisdiction, and it has all these puppets running stuff, acting like they are the ones in charge. Now, regardless if they're the ones in charge or not, they're still guilty for what they're doing. And you can clearly see the difference in law, that some people are not subjected to the law and other people are subjected to brutal law. Innocent people.
So it sounds like this force came maybe outside from some other dimensional whatever. They came into this world because it appears that the indigenous people lived the way they lived harmoniously, just like the animals did. And
With
something
the theory, the architects of humanity, people think that what created us is good. And the Egyptian stories of Ninurta and all these Enki and Enlil makes a little sense now to say, well, one of them was good. The other one was just pure evil. And Ninurta was, I think, a female scientist. So these, I'm not saying these are the exact architects of humanity, but when you look at this, the story is very close. And to think that what we're going through is not related to whatever created the physical thing. The evolution theory is what created racism. Like when you were saying fake Professor Dave talked to Jesse Lee Peterson, who, I mean, when you even hear Jesse Lee Peterson speak, it's like he speaks out of like a traumatized slave. And this we see with a lot of the other ones. Officer Tatum's channel, who's, I mean, he's shuck and jiving to the point where he was saying that, he was talking to Netanyahu last year on his channel. And this guy's got a freaking YouTube channel. And he's saying, when they were in Israel, they only had one incident when a small child spit on them. And then an adult came over and was like, that doesn't represent us. So in other words, he's saying, thank you for only spitting on him once. And I'm just like, I mean, the shuck and jive is on another level. They have a white lady that was talking. She goes, don't you know these people would end you if it was legal? And it shows me the slave dog mentality of people. It's not all people, but definitely we see them on display. The other people, the Christians that try to say that they're all good, now trying to justify PDF files, saying, first they'll criticize Muslims. Muhammad's thing was 9, which is horrible. But then they'll say, in America, it was 10 and, and all that to protect Trump. And the hypocrisy is stifling when you look at it. It really is sad. On both sides, you see the slaver and his pet. And I don't think much has changed since the 1500s. And this is just basic observation on human behavior. When you see, and again, it might not all be human. It's like how we were saying about the Doberman Pinscher could not be trained to run in direct line of fire, but the German Shepherd would. Matter of fact, they would tape meat under tanks to train German Shepherds to get it. And then in the wartime, they would strap explosives to the dog, and it would think that it's going under the tank to get meat, and they would detonate it. This is the monsters that we deal with. Dolphins, they were training dolphins to be violent, and dolphins wouldn't do it. I mean, you're looking at something on a level that Satan wouldn't even do. The character they call Satan isn't even that bad. And we think these are people. These are some of the most horrible monsters that exist. And you got people ready to worship them, call them king, do all this stuff. Now a moon mission is out there, and they're like, people are clapping, like Mr. X said, the zombies are already there saying, hey, you got these people that don't even believe we went to the moon in the 60s. And you look at this and it's like, what? I dug up some pictures of the India moon mission. Let me just take out some of the other pictures that I had. Brigham Young. Yo, Brigham Young. Oh my goodness, man. When I think of that dude, it's like you can't even make that name up. It's like, what's it? Brigham Young. It's like, yeah, call him Brigham Young, man. But these pictures of the India moon mission, right? And I highlighted this guy's face. Like, take a look at that guy. The India moon landing, right? When you know it's a lie, but can't say anything. That guy's face. Everybody's clapping, right? I'm going to show a close up of his face. Boom. That's his face. He's sitting there in the crowd. Everybody's clapping. And you look at the expression on his face. He's like, I can't even believe this. Everybody is clapping to this CGI India moon mission thing. And it's like everybody, it just, I can't believe it. Like when I look at it, I'm like, wow, this is really, it's crazy, man. This is crazy. And that's the Indian moon mission, not to mention the other ones. Alexis, good to see you. He says the Indian moon landing was even worse than the one now. Yeah. It's unbelievably like ridiculous. Yeah, man. There's not much I can really say except the moon mission is a clear IQ test.
Yeah, I'm just saying, how out of touch with reality do you have to be to believe that you can go up to a celestial object and play golf? To basically insult, the heavens and the astrology, the clock, whatever you want to call it. um, to say we have that type of power and to be able to do that and not be able to feed our own people in our own society and to have extreme poverty as what we see to this day, it just doesn't it doesn't balance out. So more circus, shows and obedient training, basically obediency, and you just stay in your lane and watch, ball chasers and everything else because it's a safe thing. Let me start early. He's like, I'm guilty of that. It's like, don't be guilty. I mean, everyone needs to cool off, whatever. At this point, it's like whatever you're used to, you do that to cool off, even though it's zombie. Like I play video games sometimes, so I have to escape this world myself at sometimes to just stay sane. Sometimes, I mean, at this point, staying sane. I mean, because some of the stuff that's happening now, at the rate of speed it's happening, is just off the charts. I mean, to have AI and crypto and
Yeah.
the jab and all these things happen all in one fell swoop is like, did someone change the timeline or something? It's like, what? It's like, what's
I mean, you
going
guys
on,
can
man?
disagree with me, but I think AI is a game changer for all of us. You guys can disagree with me, but I think it's going to zomify all of us.
No,
It's just
no,
too
no. That
powerful.
it's a pivotal point. We're actually, me and MD were talking about that earlier today
Mhm.
about the AI thing, and it almost seems like that can get advanced enough to the point to where it could recreate us, or we're creating ourselves through the AI because the AI is observing us. Therefore, it creates
Mhm.
the data the AI knows is based off us or whatever animal you want it to train off of, but it's mainly us, and that's all it knows. It only knows us. It doesn't know anything else other than what we train it to. What it observes from us.
And
So
imagine
what if
virtual
that's a reflection
reality.
of us? Yeah.
I mean, how can we escape virtual reality? That would really zombify, I think, all of us. If we could go into another reality and be another person, I mean, forget it. You know what I mean? How you get out of that? I know it would zombify me. At least
Yeah.
speaking for myself, if I could go into an AI machine and be in like another world that seems so realistic, I'm gonna be zombified before you know it. I'm just keeping it real. I mean, I'm not here to lie. You know what I'm saying? I like to keep it real.
That's what this is about, man. I mean, this is
Yeah.
getting to
I think
subjects we might not like. You know, we
we
have to,
would
you
all
know,
get in the
discuss.
pod. You starve people enough, they're getting in the pod.
Thank
And
you.
you're being honest. I would get in the pod. Scribe could say whatever, he's going to get in the pod. I mean, there's ways to get. We're dealing with a level of evil that is just like when you comprehend it, you start to say, "Wow, these people." You start to realize how ignorant we've been. They've been doing experiments. I've shown it. Pavlov's dogs, but they also had Pavlov's humans that they cut the hole in the cheek and put the vial to where the saliva would go into when they ring the bell. But everybody was brainwashed to say, "Oh, Pavlov's dogs."
I'm saying you're getting upset over the fact that we're not the top of the food chain and we're being
Oh, I'm
treated
not upset
like
about that.
mere
I'm not
we're
upset
being treated
about
like
anything.
mere cattle, right? We're being treated
No,
like cattle, and we don't like that, and they're enslaving us, right? No,
I'm not upset
I'm
about
saying
that. What shows what I'm looking at is I'm realizing I'm in an asylum. It's like an experimental farm. And when I look around, I say, man, this thing is everywhere. This monster. The only people that
it's
try
a
to
yeah.
escape are in the jungles. But when you really look at it, when you start to look at it, they seem to be uh, survivors from a previous cataclysm.
Yes.
And this cataclysm, when I look into the genetics, I say these people, everybody has genetics that are albino. So it's as if the wish happens of where they just want to kill off anything that's not lily white on the
No, I'm
field.
saying you have to
No,
accept
hold
the
up a
fact that
second.
we're not the ones in control.
No,
There's
well,
a higher
if
food
you look
chain.
if you look at what's happening, anything that's black is criminalized. This is in India. This is in everywhere you look around the world.
Okay, now
The
we're talking about
darker
race.
you are, the harder you're going to pay through the Western barbarism because it's not Western civilization. Even one of the Democrats, Destiny, was in Europe, and he goes, the differences he was noticing between different white people. He goes, yeah, they see this like right away. And I've been there and I noticed that. The old joke is you don't become white until you come to America and Canada and Australia. The word isn't WHITE, it's WITE, a person sanctioned by the Anglo-Saxon king. And Europe now, you might have people identifying with it, but before there wasn't. They see the differences. They know a Croatian ain't the same as a German or a Danish or a Russian or an Italian or an Irish. These are distinctly different people, just like Ugandans, people from South Africa, people from Egypt, Morocco, and Cameroon. Those are very different people. But when you jumble them all up and bring them to America, now they're all black or they're all white. And this is the way they work. So the more we see this, the more we can defend ourselves. That guy says, yeah, the rapper India, it's just off the hap. We need a reset. That's hilarious. But I mean, I hear what you're saying, Scribe. I definitely, I
Well,
mean,
that's even more of an experiment when they blur the lines of racism. Like the second you step in the U.S., now all of a sudden you're a color. Now all of a sudden where you came from doesn't really matter, and you're going to be treated accordingly. You know, that's stepping into some type of institution, some type of straitjacket thing. I mean, it's got pretty eye candy, it's got pretty lights, and it's fun, but the
I'm not going to call on the racial part of it, but as far as crime goes, cameras are going to be everywhere. I mean, already they're starting to complain about the meta glasses, like everything's being recorded now. And it's going to get to the point where you're not going to get away with anything at this life. You know what I'm saying? They're going to know every freaking thing we do. Everything we do is going to be recorded. So if you're causing trouble, it won't last long. I don't see it. They're going to have the whole system is going to change. You'll be recorded. It'll all be digital. The judge will be digital. Everything will be just in 2 seconds. You'll be in jail.
But now look at it. Other people commit those crimes and nothing happens to them.
You're talking about the elites, though. You're talking about the elites.
No, to make it easy, we just call them the rich. So it's like rich.
That's always going to be like that, though.
Yeah, when you look at who was it, Dennis Hasserat or something, raped a 5-year-old kid, like a few of them. He didn't even get prosecuted. He was a speaker, I think, for the House of Representatives. It's when you,
it's even worse in England. In England, there's a lot of that PDF going on. It's out the chain in there.
Yeah.
English part. I don't know. I know in English Parliament there was a big scandal about it.
Yeah, no, I mean that guy. He's been on here before.
Yeah.
How
you doing?
All right, man. How's everything?
All right. Yeah. Sorry, I guess we're bringing up the differences with the European. It's a fact, man. This whole white identity stuff is reaching parts of stuff. But I'm like, dude, if you ask that, if you go to a church from like Russia, that
your
no difference.
mic is breaking up. I don't know.
Mike's skipping. Yeah.
Sorry, you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you.
I tell them, if you guys tell church,
are you like on a speakerphone or headphones?
Hold on.
Yeah, I like that with my face there, the Joker, and it looks good in the background with the explosion.
Yeah, man. He hopped off for a second. Here he is. He's back.
All right,
okay.
Better?
Yeah, much better. Much better.
Okay, so I tell these people, look, with this whole white identity thing, if you guys tell a Russian, like a Chechen, that he's no different from an Anglo-Saxon, you're asking for a fight. Yeah. If you tell a Corsican that there's no difference between him and a Nordic, he's not going to be happy, because I heard the story that in Corsica, this old man, he almost got run over by this guy, and the guy got out of his car, and he just fucking punched him and walked away.
If you call an Italian Irish in New York, you probably get into a fight with him.
Now, if that's how a New York Italian reacts, imagine how like a rural Italian from the countryside is going to react.
It would be mantra. Remember, Italy from 65 to 81. There was a woman. They would shame a woman if she didn't marry her rapist. This is the barbarism in Italy. And that only changed in 1981. In 65, she said no. It took all those years for that no to be heard. She was like, I'm not married. She's not marrying her rapist. And England, grape was legal, basically. If the woman did getting pregnant, she couldn't file. It's like you're looking at a level of barbarism that is just, it's almost unsurpassed. And I'm not saying this doesn't happen in African countries. It was so bad they had to create a condom that was like a rape prevention thing. It had like spikes on it and stuff. Asvarun, good to see you, man.
Good to see you too, MD. Yeah.
But in saying that, Dennis Hasserat, former Speaker of the House, right, was a celebrated politician and a serial child molester. Never did time.
Oh, shit.
Anybody can look it up. Dennis Hastert. Anybody. Yeah.
Yo, have you guys seen what came out about Christy Noem's husband?
No. What happened?
Apparently, the guy's a cross-dresser.
Oh, okay, yeah. I did hear. Yeah.
Pictures came out on him dressed like a woman, and I'm like, bro, this is supposed to be the party of Jesus Christ.
I would not be surprised if Trump is a cross-dresser, and I'm calling it out right now. Like a lot of the stuff when I said 75% of the men are not heterosexual, and it's really proven to be true, and people thought I was nuts 5 years ago when I said it in 2020. Or 6 years ago, J. Edgar Hoover was a cross-dresser, and he said the biggest threat was black unity. Anybody can look this stuff up. It's on file. This is, and you had good white people. The one guy that did 15 years, he got sentenced to for buying a black family a home in a white area in the 50s, I think it was. You look at some of the insanity. of whatever it is that's behind the scene that is so afraid of different people loving each other. And when a law is put out that people can't get married because they look different, the enemy is the person that's putting the law out. Anybody enforcing that, that's the enemy. It goes against the Constitution. Everything I've ever seen in this country is hypocritical to a point to where it's sickening. It's freaking sickening. And some people have had enough. And they're just like, look, I'm not gonna participate in this. They've taken control of the water, and what do? Pollute it to where we got to buy water filters to clean our own water. This is, it's to a point of slavery where I don't even really know how to explain it at this point. And now the moon mission, it's like, you got to be kidding me. In the middle of all, it's like, hey, guess what? Another 100 billion, we're going to the moon. And idiots are clapping. That's why I put the thumbnail up. I said, these people are freaking nuts.
It's like, look, we live in America, a country where half of the population believes, whenever you ask them how many countries are there in the Americas, they're going to start naming you names of states.
Yeah.
We live in a country of people. When someone who's from El Salvador tells them I'm from El Salvador, they'll start asking them, what part of Mexico is that?
Yeah, it's that ignorant. They say Americans learn geography through war. Many Americans would have never known about the countries Vietnam or Korea or Iraq or Iran unless it was for war. I remember speaking with a guy, he was older, from Russia. He was like a kid during Stalin. And he goes, man, people couldn't pass a note about anything about Stalin. The next thing you know, they'd be rushed off to the gulag. And the horrors that he told me about, and we talked about education, and I said, yeah, man, I said, the average American doesn't even know that Zimbabwe is a country in Africa. They don't know that Luxembourg is a country in Western Asia, which is Europe. And I've spoke about this. I said, look, the first part of being an idiot is to think that, I think Scribe bounced. If you want to come back, Scribe, just let me know. Just hop on. When I looked at, the map, and I was writing this back in 2012, I got so much unfinished work. And I look at Asia and I say to myself, okay, this is one continent. It has continuity. It's connected. That's the meaning of the word. To say that this little portion that's red is a separate continent, that's the beginning of a cognitive dissonance. You're holding two things in the mind that are opposing. So when you look at Asia on the whole, this one includes Indonesia, and then you look at what they trying to consider Europe, and you start to say, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. That's the same, that's just one continuous mass of land. And India is part of that. Now, India will try to call it a subcontinent because, India is like the subservience level of whatever they did to India and what the Indians are doing to each other, with the black Indians on the bottom and just calling them untouchables, Dalit. I mean, that goes beyond American slavery. American slavery, they were, they weren't allowing black people in certain areas. But when you look at the stuff that's going on in India today, as Varun is here, maybe he can verify that.
Whatever you say is true. They're known as Dalits or Harijans or Shudras or Shudras. So basically, like, they're at the lowest level of the caste system, and like they do very menial jobs like cleaning toilets and picking up corpses. They even eat beef also. So like they're considered to be at the lowest level, but in 1950 or 60, like they were given like how you have affirmative action, a lot of reservation was given to them in government sectors. So the government is trying its best to remove them from their state of misery. But in villages and all that, like let's say you go to a well, Now, this case happened recently. Like, what happened was that there was this well in Maharashtra, a state in
Mm.
India. This Dalit guy came over there in the city of he was working in Bombay or Mumbai. So
Mhm.
like over there, it's like whoever comes first, you get served. So over here, actually, some upper caste people came a little late and they started fist fighting with him. He also fought back. They got very angry because they weren't given they since they were upper caste people, they deserved to be having the water in the well first, and this guy came first and he got it. So they came
Mhm.
to his house and burnt him.
Wow. It sounds like what happens here with the Klan. I've had
Yeah.
people talk about Christianity, and I'm like, listen, not every white Christian is a Klan member, but every Klan member is a white Christian. This is just a reality of it. Not every black person is a black supremacist, but every black supremacist is black. So when you think about that, people got to think for a second and say, "Oh, okay, I see where that is," and it can get very confusing because you can't really tell who's who. You got to wait to see their action. Sometimes they can hide their action very well. So sometimes you got to like stir it up to try to figure it out, and then they expose themselves. Like right now, with what's going on, that guy made a good point with the white identity thing. It's ridiculous. Mark, good to see you, man.
And
Yeah.
I'm gonna add to that. A guy I know on TikTok, he actually there there was this guy, this white nationalist who would have a post, right, and you know what he commented, can you define white for me? And all these hillbillies got mad
Oh yeah.
because he asked him, can you define that? Would you
Mhm.
guys would you guys allow a Greek man to live in your neighborhood?
Mhm. And what they say?
they 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 didn't get it. They didn't reply to him, but we all know what they think.
Wow. When I,
The whole thing is sad, you know. If somebody called me Irish, Italian, German, French, or whatever, I wouldn't take offense to it. You know what I mean? It's like whatever. No, I don't think so. But you know what I mean? It's just like it's ridiculous. Take that much offense.
yeah, the whole classification that that they put on people, it takes away any type of individuality they might have had
Hmm.
in saying, because in New York they stick to it. Like Italian people will stick on both sides. They'll say, okay, they're Italian, but then if it comes to the grouping, okay, they're going to be grouped in with white. And they weren't accepted that way in the late early 1900s.
No, they
The
weren't.
Irish already had a stronghold. We see that there's a couple of books that were written, how Italians became white, how the Irish became white, and I think he wrote another one, how the Jewish became white. And it was, when you look at these three people, it's totally different. And just like how that guy was saying, if you talk to Russian or Croatian or somebody, they do this to kind of keep people against each other. They keep them confused, and it can lump everybody from other groups into one group, like blacks or Spanish. There's super diversity in Spanish communities, Spanish speaking communities, which it wouldn't be Spanish because Spanish is a language. So again, we get folded into this non-descriptive. It blurs the definition of something to where we don't know, like evolution. They'll say, oh well, evolution means this, it means that. It's like, no, that's a lie. When something changes, that's called adaptation according to environmental factors.
Hmm.
And even with it, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Uh-huh.
I was going to say that even
Was that
MD?
Mr. X? Something? Yeah.
No,
Oh,
that's not me. Go ahead. I'm just. I'll put on mute.
wait, that guy
I
was
just
saying
wanted to,
something again. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that guy.
oh no, I was going to say that even even in Spain, for example, there's gonna you're depending on where you're from, where you're at. I mean, there's going to be clear phenotypic differences in the north and the south.
Hmm.
Like the ones from the north tend to look a bit more Germanic. The ones from the south can pass for like Arabs.
I mean, some I would say today, there is a lot of mixing in Germany, right?
Oh yeah, Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah, also.
So it's like,
Spain. He was talking about Spain, though.
oh, Spain. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
Spain.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Remember the Moors,
Yep.
the Arab Moors, had and this was the funny thing that I found funny in the historical record is that the Moors had took over Spain and into France. So now they invaded Europe, right? And they're controlled by the Arabs, but a lot of them are black Moors. And this is why the whole north, the whole top of Africa is all Muslim. When they try to say, well, these people are, it's like, that is why I don't care what happens in the Middle East. I'm like, they're like, oh, well, these people, it's like, listen, when you steal something from somebody and karma comes for you, I'm not saying it's right to do what, is done, but that's karma. It's like somebody who has stolen something from somebody and then somebody else comes to do it to them and they start crying like, oh, look at this wrong. It's like, yeah, man, what's that old saying? Karma's a bitch only if you are. And it's not right, but it's saying like, hey, that's just what it is. And if, I just let it be. But when they invaded Spain and France, and this is why you probably have that Arab influence in Lower Spain still.
Ojalá, that's the name, and it's I wish in Spanish, but it's from the Arabic. Ojalá.
Now, when the last generals were surrendering back Spain and back that part of Western Asia, Europe, the year was 1492, according to the documents. It's kind of odd because that's the same date they try to say Columbus crashed in San Salvador, Bahamas. This great, admiral or captain, couldn't even land the ship, didn't even notice rocks. And then the natives had to load everything onto the shores, and they documented it, saying that these people loaded everything. They didn't steal anything. The wood that they could salvage, they built a fort, and as soon as the fort was built, they attacked the natives out of the shipwreck wood. This is the type of mentality you're dealing with. Now, I'm not going to say people like a lot of black racists will say, oh, this is, this is in the people. And it's like, no, it's not. It's behavior. It's not an entire people. It's behavior of a certain group. And within that group, you had guys like De La Casas who wasn't with it. He goes, look, he converted to a priest to be protected, and he documented the stories. It's like when Rosewood, the town in Florida, was burnt down by a white mob. A lot of people was killed, 70, 80 people. The town might have had 200 people. But there was a white man living in that town. Out of the 200 residents, you had one guy that owned a store, and they had other stores too, which were all black owned. But he actually helped black people survive and got to the word to the railway to say, look, we need a way out. And those people, the survivors, the children of those people still have videos on YouTube. The videos are from the 80s, but somebody uploaded them. So when we look at the help that people have given each other, it shows us that not all people are bad in any ethnicity. You're going to have the majority of them, I will agree, are messed up. The majority of all, black, white, Indian, whatever. The majority of people you meet, it's like we see here. We're the minority. Nobody talks about what we're talking about. Mr. X, you had something?
Yeah, I want to say, it's like today, you can, people can hire a hitman and pay him money to do a hit. So it's like, the people who committed these atrocities, who knows if they were paid by somebody and people in power, to commit these atrocities. But it still applies to today. Some people will commit atrocities against other people for money.
Mhm.
So, you know what I'm saying? So we talk about good people, bad people, but you know, if these guys are getting paid and the one person you talked about who tried to save people, he was doing that probably for free, you know? I'm sure he was. He wasn't getting paid for it.
Mhm.
But, you know, so I'm just saying that atrocities and genocide, it's always going to be available in any society. It's just they can always find certain people to do things that they don't care. They'll take a human life for money. So,
Well, the thing with that, somebody had said, if a man kills for money, he might stop when he has enough money. But if a man kills for religion, he'll never stop. He's got a license to kill. And that seems very accurate. When you look, there is something like when I look at, and this is where the architects of humanity just, I see humans like just being used. Imagine, like I said, that how we all have, according to genetics, albino origins. And the whole planet, everybody's white. A catastrophe happens, and people are living in tribal areas. Like right now, if shit hit the fan, within 20,000 years, you wouldn't even see cars. They would have been rusted away, millennia before that. No buildings, nothing. It would be like, people would start to adapt to the solar radiation, turn different shades, light brown, brown, yellowish brown, red, dark brown, black. And then they bring up the new creation or clones, like some people talk about Tartaria and the Cabbage Patch clones and stuff, which it could be true, may not be true, who knows? But the whole thing about the baby being brought by the stalk, but it's not a stalk like a bird, it's on the stalk of the cabbage, who knows? But let's just say, because when you look at the world map and you say, well, wait a second, why is it that the majority of people that are incorrectly labeled white come from one area of Western Asia? And you would think that at first and say, okay, why is this? But a guy, he did a TED talk years ago, and I've heard about this back even in the 80s. Tribes in Indonesia that lived in the trees that have blonde hair, green eyes, paler skin. And you think, oh, maybe that's a lie. I think they called it the Emerald Forest. There was a movie about it in the 80s. And in the Americas, the Toltecs were said to have blonde hair and green eyes, and the Aztecs would sacrifice them. But there were also small pockets of tribes that were white or considered, lighter skin. So my theory, and the only reason I came up with this theory is because of seeing that everybody had blue eyes behind the brown eyes. And that can be proven by laser depigmentation. Laser depigmentation can also take the melanin off of skin to even up skin tones. You have some people that have darker skin tones and they want to even them up. So it's showing that melanin is on the outside and underneath is the original color, which is not devoid of melanin, but it doesn't have the protection. What is melanin really for? To protect us from solar radiation. It's meant, you see people that look like they're what would be called white, and in the summer they'll get tan. You'll be like, holy smokes, this person's like a little olive colored. You see some people that don't, some people that will burn. The people that burn, if you notice, they have freckles, like a lot of the Irish and stuff like that. Those freckles are melanin. It's the body's way of protecting itself. The same thing with the eye. So it's as if, I don't know what we're on the planet's surface for, how we got released here, did we escape to the planet's surface? But now if we take, that's the genetic evidence to say, okay, the melanin is over on top of us. And now we look into, okay, is there any more clues? We go to religious books. We start to say, okay, Cain and Abel, all of this stuff, they're in the garden, but now they got to leave. Cain has to leave and he's worried. And he says, what about, he doesn't want to be persecuted. Persecuted by who? So in other words, it gives a clue, and I'm just speculating on this because it's hard to prove any religious document, but going along with the genetic evidence, which is factual, we can extrapolate with the religious interpretation, what I call documents, as Arun has multiple knowledge on Indian Sanskrit Vedic history. Did you have something, Azrun?
Yeah, MD, like, can I hop back on? Is it okay if I can just
Yeah,
go have breakfast and
hop off and hop back on, man. Yeah.
it's okay, MD?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure,
thank
man.
you, MD. Yeah.
So when we look at this, we start to say, because it's a theory that's so out there, I had to split the book in half because the second half I was going to talk about evolution, because it's hard for people to really even get it through their mind, because we've been so inundated and soaked with, oh, we were created outside. And then religion gives us this magical thing of, oh, these invisible hands making man from dirt. Where? Again, outside. It seems like it doesn't give a realistic picture, but when you look at the human organism, it had to be created like inside or something. Everything. Whenever they do experiments, they do it in a lab. So as we look at a shielded environment, you wouldn't need melanin in a shielded environment. When you go deeper into the ocean, if you go into cave creatures, you see that like they're pinkish, they're albino-ish. The albino cave fish, we see deep sea, they even get clear. They get clear and they become bioluminescent. So, okay, what are these legends of the shining ones and all of this stuff? So I'm starting to piece it together to say, okay, we have real science of organisms that are clear and emit their own light. And we have organisms that can emit their own light that live in the ocean, but also live on the surface. Fireflies, glowworms, they're creating a whole different type of light, like a bioluminescent greenish light, as opposed to the multicolored light of deep sea organisms. Mark, that guy, did you have something?
No. Talk about.
So yeah, so this is like when I like the research, I'm following the truth like in a horror movie or something, and it leads to stuff that's so, what some might say is unbelievable, but I'm strictly following the evidence and saying, look, man, this is where it leads. And it's just like the thing that I did with the dating thing. And I realized, I said, these guys ain't straight. You know, you can see it clearly, especially when you've been to Europe and you come back to America, you can see that stuff a lot clearer. If you've never traveled out, it's harder to see over here because they hide it really well. But in Europe, it's more open. So when you see stuff over there and you say, oh, okay, I didn't notice that before. And then you come back to America, then you start to see like, holy, this is just straight fruit city. And, you know, whatever somebody's orientation, there's nothing against them. I welcome everybody on the show, they, them, whatever they want to call themselves. I mean, we got people that believe evolution. So they're basically saying they're identifying as an ape or their ancestors were ape. Hey, cool. We can still talk if they're respectful and they have the mental capacity, the mental, you know, being mentally equipped to have a conversation, because most people aren't. Like Mr. X was saying, the guy that talked about the moon thing, he wasn't mentally equipped. You sensed it, that you knew not to trigger him.
Exactly. And I think the same holds true with evolutionists. I don't think it's possible to have a conversation with one of them. I'd love to see one prove me wrong, but I doubt that's going to happen, because they believe in a lie. And in my opinion, they believe in a lie. So they're always going to act out. And I've yet to see any evolutionist, when faced with a real challenge of somebody who has, understand what they're talking about and won't just blindly accept their beliefs, they react violently. They just react. They start insulting. I've seen it time and time again. They can't defend the lie because they don't really believe in what they're preaching. I know that.
No, definitely, man. And in the midst of all of this stuff that's going on, the craziest thing is that there is a 89 to 90%, it's funny how they put it, decline in American bumblebees over the past 2 decades. So that's this millennia.
Wow.
So 90% of the bumblebees are not being seen. So basically they're gone. And this is like unknown. Everybody look at all the distractions. The moon, Venezuela, Ukraine, Iran, Cuba, Greenland, the pedo stuff in the White House. And this right here is like, if all of this stuff went away, it wouldn't matter. Like Venezuela, Cuba, all Venezuela, the wars, all of that stuff, Greenland, that wouldn't matter. But if the bumblebees go away, we already know it's at that point, it's like we're struggling to just live, because now you're messing with the ecosystem, and it's coming from what the so-called modern world is doing with the I think it's called neonicotinoid pesticides. And then they try to say, with the change, the weather change, it's not, they'll never mention like, wait, I'm looking in the sky and I'm seeing all this spray type of stuff. And they're telling me that, oh, there's something wrong with the weather. I'm like, but they're basically, I'm seeing it being sprayed.
Yeah.
So the level of what would be the word? Like,
If they don't care about clean water, what makes you think they wouldn't do something else? You know what I mean? If you look at Flint, Michigan, and all these other cities with their filthy water, they don't give a damn about the people giving them clean water. They know they're going to get sick, but they don't care. So is it that crazy to think that other things are happening?
Yeah. It's definitely not a far off thing. Definitely not. I mean, with the bumblebee, there's a few animals. Certain type of crab is not being seen. It's kind of crazy, man. But I had posted something earlier about, because I've been posting every so often about the stuff with evolution, showing how animals that they found in a fossil, and they say, oh, this animal's been extinct for 100 million years or 20 million years. And somebody catches it and say, oh, look, I found it. So it's like, wait a minute, you just said it was extinct. The many lies of evolutionists is it needs to be documented. And this is why I'm taking long for the production. But like, you look at, they'll call it a living fossil now. So these terms that they use to know how they use the language to deceive, to say, wait a second, there's no such thing as a missing link. So that's saying it exists and it's just missing. You just got to find it. You don't know if it exists. It's a non-existent transitional species. That's the scientific term. So right there, they have a very deceptive way of twisting the language. The lexicon is recreated. So now we look into other parts, these animals that they said were extinct. And when they find them, you know what they call them? They call them living fossils. I said, what do you mean living fossil? You just said it was extinct. And now to try to not say that you were wrong, you're going to call it a living fossil. It's very high level of deception using words, because a normal person will pick that up. Oh, these are living fossils. No, these are animals that they thought were extinct. And because evolution isn't scientific, they immediately publish it. And now, instead of looking like the liars they are, they'll lie again. Because what does a liar have to do? It's a snowball effect. They can never stop lying. If they stop lying, then their whole story falls apart. And that's,
no, I was going to say, then they also say, like I was hearing the other night, about what happened 3.7 billion years ago. They know exactly what was going on. It's like, that's not your science. That's a belief.
Yeah.
There's nothing scientific about saying, I know exactly what happened 3.7 billion years ago. Zero scientific about that.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the fact that one of the guys who went to the moon, I think, well, supposedly went to the moon, I'm not sure if it was Buzz Aldrin. I think it was him.
Mhm.
There was a guy who approached him at the airport and said the moon landing never happened, and he punched the guy. This was back in, I think, this was back in the 2000s.
Yeah, I remember hearing that when Buzz Aldrin punched the guy in the face. Buzz Aldrin punches guy. I think
It never happened.
they said he punched a YouTuber. Buzz Aldrin.
Is that the
It
guy
said
from
the
Howard
YouTuber-
Stern?
Huh?
Was it the guy from Howard Stern? But I'm just going off the top of my head. Stuttering John. Was it?
Howard Stern, what, somebody on there, one of his panel?
Yeah, well, I think it was like Stuttering John or something. Who asked him, "You didn't go to the moon" or something like that. I thought it was from the Howard Stern show, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. You can look it up.
I think I do remember. Yeah, there's a guy, Stuttering John. I think that's on there, and there's a chick. It says here that the guy Sibrel, a filmmaker who believed the moon landings were fake, approached Aldrin under false pretenses to demand he swear on a Bible and that he walked on the moon. So the confrontation followed Aldrin and calling him a coward and a liar, and then he punched Sibrel in the face.
Oh, okay.
No charges were filed against Aldrin, of course, and authorities deemed it justified as harassment. Yeah, of course they would. It just as a use. There was a job he had after the moon mission, and I'm trying to find it because I was talking to Scribe about it earlier, and I said this is nuts. Now check this out: a guy that supposedly went to the moon and walked on it. You're looking at like one of the, it would be, if it was true, one of the most amazing scientific achievements, right?
Mhm.
After he comes back, right, in the early 1970s, you would think he's, a senator or, some type of high position in government. He worked as a car salesman.
Buzz Aldrin?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
What?
I looked it up just to make sure because I read this a lot.
Crazy. That's crazy.
Did Buzz Aldrin work as a used car salesman after the moon mission? Yes. Buzz Aldrin briefly worked as a car salesman in the early 70s following his retirement from NASA. This is like, you can't even make this crap up, man.
That's insane. That's really crazy.
Yes.
That's real.
Black Circle, good to see you, man. He said NASA, no astronaut sent anywhere. That's a good one, man. That is a good one. But yeah, when I found that out, and I'm like, what? So imagine a guy is going to this. It's like, wait a minute, didn't you walk on the, what are you doing here?
And he's supposed to be very, very educated. I mean, he's an astronaut for
I
crying
mean,
out loud.
if that doesn't tell us, so now when we read in between the lines, we start to say this is all a pack of horse crap.
Yeah.
He spent 6 months, it says here. Oh man, about 6 months. So that means 9 months. At a
And a used
Cadillac.
car salesman in that to boot. Used car- I mean, the lowest of the low. I mean,
Yeah, and okay, it's in a good neighborhood, Beverly Hills. It says here, I didn't know, but still, a car salesman for a guy that walked on the moon. It just shows you how the walking on the moon just seems more and more like a lie.
yeah.
And also, what was I going to say? So these guys, right, at NASA, didn't the fugitive Nazis fucking help them like develop all that crap?
Well, that's what they were saying,
Yeah.
that the Nazis, and this is
Project
where I think
Paperclip.
that maybe,
Paperclip.
yeah. What were you saying, Ms. Arts?
No, it was Project Paperclip about that. The Nazis coming over.
Operation Paperclip. Yeah, but now they were saying, one, that Russia got the better scientists. Two, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't seem like we won World War II because not only did the Nazi scientists come over, many positions were held by former Nazis in America. And you start to say, this is very odd. But with the Buzz Aldrin, this is the craziest thing. His performance, it says he was famously unsuccessful in the role, later admitting that he never managed to sell a single card. So he was a failure even at that. And remember, they Gus Grissom was, they tried to say, oh, he died in an accident and all that. It seemed like he was purposely off because he hung a lemon on the lunar module, mocking it, saying this is not going to be able to take us, up. And next thing you know, he dies in a training accident. And they were complaining why John Glenn was chosen to go around the first low Earth orbit. And then next thing you know, he dies in a training mission. And John Glenn and Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, the whole lying crew got together. And these are the guys that they chose. Okay, idiots that can lie for us. And Buzz Aldrin is a well-known. Alexis, brother, thank you for the support. He says, and what are used car salesmen good at? Wow, man, this is freaking, this is high level, man. Lie and act. You're exactly right. Wow. That's amazing. Alexis puts it together on a high level, man. Yeah, Gus Grissom. That guy's a hero. Gus Grissom is the hero astronaut that ended up getting killed with two of his colleagues too, in my opinion, killed, but they say he died. This is, when I found out about the used car salesman a while back, and I was like, I remembered it, and I was like, this, you got to be kidding me, because there's nobody really to talk to except some of the guys, us that come on here. There's very few in real life, maybe 3 or 4 people I know. There's a few of my friends that tell me you're the only guy I can talk to about certain things. A couple of my friends in real life. And I've limited it to only a few people that can talk about things. Other people I had to realize, like, look, man, I don't even need to be talking to this person unless it's business or it's something, that's very important that doesn't have to do with a conversation, whether it's, carpentry or something else. It's no sense in, like how Mr. X is saying, work, that's it. He's not going to have nothing to say about this guy about the moon mission, because he said, I don't know if you heard that guy earlier. He goes, Mr. X was saying, one of the guys that he works with, I think, was saying, oh, can you believe people think that we didn't go in the 60s? And, Mr. X like, yeah, like he did it like super smart. Zombie survivor. He knew to evade the zombie because he's looking to see if anybody's thinking for themselves. And now check this out. The reason for taking the job, Buzz Aldrin, punched people in the face because he's angry because they figured out his lie. Aldrin, after his historic moon mission, Aldrin struggled with depression and alcoholism. How could a guy, his therapist suggested he take a regular job. This is, to provide a consistent daily work schedule, and he still couldn't sell a car. He tried to pitch a Cadillac to Watergate conspirator H.R. Haldeman. So, I mean, this guy's another level.
They're really laughing at us. They really are.
They are. It's like, so a lying crook, is trying to sell a Cadillac to another lying crook. A Watergate.
It's like a soap opera, like you said.
What
are the chances of all this happening? They're not.
These are the same gang of pedos from Columbus and before that. This is like, and the same thing with the Africans that sold African slaves. Same Jesse Lee Peterson here today.
Do you think Buzz Aldrin? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just, because you're the master at deciphering these anagrams. I wonder what that would mean, Buzz Aldrin. If we could rearrange the letters, it's got to come out to something.
I actually had it. Let me see if I still have it. I have it in one of the files that I didn't put in secret words because it was meant for secret words part 2, because it was just too much stuff for me to fit in the one book.
I look up on AI myself on here.
Anagram. Oh yeah, you know something that connects AI. Shit, I forgot about that. Yeah, AI. Let me see if maybe Google will do it. What are some anagrams for? What is Buzz Aldrin's full name? I know it's not Buzz. For Buzz Aldrin's full name, because I know Neil Armstrong has like one, like something liar, like man or something like that.
His real name is Edwin Eugene Aldrin.
Okay, Edwin Eugene. Yeah, it just popped up. Junior, actually. Edwin Eugene Aldrin Jr. Blizzard NU, Lizard Nubsy. That's weird that you got Lizard. Enduring Eel Genie, or is that right? That's kind of odd. Enduring Eel Genie. Unending Eerie Lad. Wow. So an unending eerie lad. Genuine idol render. That's another one. It says, while not a true anagram, the full name of some pop culture, Neil A. Armstrong. Because I had some. They say Buzz Aldrin, backwards is Azub. Azub, well, I know that like that thing was Beelzebub. I think that's like something else. Let me see if because I had one with Neil Armstrong's
Neil Armstrong is like alien. Neil A. Armstrong.
yeah, something alien. Okay, the anagram. Because I had saved it to a document. A lot of these let me see if I have it. New World Order. Hurricane Katrina conspiracy is rich, tyrannic, sucker paranoia. It's just the fact that it can spell words that are related. Newspapers reap and spew. I had some with afterlife. I felt fear. Isn't that weird? So afterlife is I felt fear. Roman Catholic priest, a complainer to Christ, to preach to criminals. Tell me, look at that. Roman Catholic priest can be respelled to say to preach to criminals. Holy smokes. I forgot some of this stuff. A priest, right? A priest can be respelled to two words. It rapes. Tell me that ain't something. Right?
That's crazy.
I
still can't get over that, with his depression, alcoholism. It's like, wait a minute, don't they take the best and the brightest? Well, especially back in 1969 to go to the moon. Like, these guys have to go through a extensive examination to go be chosen. You know what I'm saying? It's like something doesn't add. It totally doesn't add up.
Donald Trump, President of the United States of America, maddened people's ruin in the fate of dictator tantrums. So that's one I didn't put in the book. I don't think Trump was president when I published it. Let me see. Because I remember saving the ones, because I used one or two from the Neil Armstrong stuff. Trilateral Commission, I think I put that in the book. Where the heck did I put it? Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton can be respelled into lynch a trillion. Tell me that. Freaking, that's off the handle, man. That's off the handle. Dag, where the heck did I put the Neil Armstrong? Oh, okay. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Neil Armstrong. An eagle lands on Earth, moon making first small permanent. No, that one. Where the heck? Astronaut Neil Armstrong, man to start lunar regions. It doesn't really have. I thought I saved some. Okay, Neil Armstrong itself can spell altering norms. Mr. Strong Alien,
Wow.
a strong man liar. So it spells those individually. Astronaut Neil Alden Armstrong, a start in largest moon run. I got Earth's men on lunar start.
Wow.
So,
That's good.
right? Isn't that crazy? So astronaut Neil Alden Armstrong can be respelled into I got Earth's men on lunar start. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I don't think it has to be like a perfect translation either. I think that's enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Astronaut Michael Foale floats a cue. I am on Earth. That was one of the other guys, Michael Foale. So astronaut Michael Foale can be respelled into floats a cue. I am on Earth.
Mhm.
Wow.
Wow.
And astronaut Alan Shepard, NASA heart and soul trap, land as a star upon Earth. Wow, look at that.
It's just amazing that most of those astronauts got killed in training accidents, like you said, or died in those training exercises. And Buzz Aldrin went to go sell used cars. It's like none of this adds up.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't. I mean, look at this one. This one is crazy. Alien being can be respelled in angel IB or IB in angel. Either way you rearrange the letters. Wow. That is and that's just a few of them. I got a whole, like, I had to scroll down. I got a lot of stuff. I could make like 4 books out of this. Yeah, this is divination can be respelled into do it in vain.
Wow.
The moon can be respelled into not home.
Not home.
The moon.
Oh, the moon. Oh,
Yeah. So man on the moon, man not on home. Child abuse can be respelled as builds ache or build aches. Bondage gone bad. Soldiers, dire loss. Look at that.
Wow.
Holy smokes, man. This is on a level where it's like, man, yeah, this is this is some crazy stuff, man. This is some crazy stuff. I forgot. I remember I had it in, I might have some more stuff too. Celestial Senate. What do you think about the claims the astronauts actually went, but they had to fake it because they were ETs? I don't think that makes sense, only because, and that's a great question, because when you look at the scientific aspect of getting there and what they used, and also like the guilt of saying, okay, can we look at the tape when they say, oh, we destroyed them? That right there shows me that, wait a minute, you destroyed the tapes, so we can't even look at the original tapes. So this is why it's like there's just too much stuff. I don't think, the ET thing when they bring it in is very, very.
But is there a tie into the ancient structures that we have here on Earth that mankind can't even build today? That there may have been a more advanced civilization that could accomplish what we couldn't. I don't
I
know.
mean, we could probably do that with technology. So you see, that's the one thing they don't want us to think of. Um, when you have technology, the pyramids don't seem hard to build. Now you need a very, modern technology would have a problem. So let's just say we boost it up a bit. So we say, okay, it can be done, but they don't want to say that, okay, there was high technology to build it.
Right.
Now, not saying that man did it, but he could have did it with that if something gave it to him. Alexis says the used car's job was just for them to laugh in our faces, just like the golf stuff. Exactly. It really does seem that way. But when I look at the structures on Earth, one thing to combat the evolutionist lies is to say, well, okay, you don't want to really know the true origins of humanity. Otherwise, you would be complaining about why Göbekli Tepe got shut down.
Right.
When they
Right.
found 4 ampules off of ships that was sunken off the coast of, I think, Rio de Janeiro, which supposedly belonged to Roman ships. So that's saying the Romans, which makes sense. The Romans could have made it to Brazil. They banned underwater diving, I think, over there. I'm going to check it just to make sure. Yeah, did they ban? Because I remember this was years ago. Underwater diving in off the coast. Yeah, it was off the coast of Brazil after finding Roman ships. Because I remember it was ampules that led to them saying in 1984, wow, see, I remember this correctly. I didn't research it, I was researching it in the 2000s. In 1984, the Brazilian government did indeed issue a nationwide ban on all underwater exploration and marine archaeological excavations. This ban followed a highly controversial claim by an American treasure hunter, Robert Marks, who asserted he had discovered ancient Roman shipwrecks in Rio de Janeiro's Guanabara Bay. So when you look at stuff like this, right? It's like they're purposely covering up any type of archaeological find.
That's right. That's right. They are. They don't want something to be uncovered that
Yeah.
there was maybe a great flood and there was another society that built in the deep oceans that they don't want discovered.
And then we got minions of the state like the fake Professor Dave, Petrov, all these guys pushing evolution. And it's like, wait a minute, we can't even get there. We have evidence right here of freaking Rome. It says the Roman discovery in 82, Marx found hundreds of barnacle encrusted jars or amphoras, which experts initially dated to around the 3rd century AD. And he argued it proved Romans reached Brazil 1,500 years before the Portuguese. And it's like, I remember reading about this, like it could have been the late 90s to 2000, right on the cusp. And because I used to really, before I started doing human origins, I was into ancient civilizations. And I was saying, wait a second, there's just enormous amounts of evidence that there are ancient civilizations that are advanced, that the Romans, like this, were coming across to Brazil like it was nothing. The same thing probably with the Greeks and the Egyptians when they found the cocaine mummies in Egypt, like saying they gave traces and they could only get the coca from South America because I guess the indigenous plant or whatever. But a lot of the Egyptian vessels that they try to at first say were decorative have proven to be seaworthy. And then Thor Heyerdahl was the first modern person to sail from Polynesia to South America from across the Pacific Ocean on a freaking raft, proving that the Polynesians could have indeed made it across. And then they tested DNA of certain Brazilian tribes and find it had the same signature as Australians.
Mm.
So now you're seeing that there's certain tribes in Brazil that are linked genetically to Australian Aborigines and Polynesians, showing that they did cross over or somebody crossed over in the opposite direction.
Sure. It's like the Indians in Puerto Rico, the Tainos. They were there first. How did they get there? They might have come from Colombia or some other place.
Yeah,
Someplace.
yeah, we never know. And when you look at it with the theory, you start to say, what if these people started adapting, and this is why you see the differences in shades of melanin. Christopher, good to see you, brother. He says a diving ban is admitting evidence. Exactly. I think that's a very good, after we what was it today? Yeah, 8 o'clock this morning, I was free and I looked at YouTube and I jumped on Breakfast Taco.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it was bloodbath, but they wouldn't let me on, so I left. I just stayed there for like 5 minutes and then I left. Backstage, yeah. Because I was saying, I said, let me.
Yeah, they go 24/7. They're probably starting right now. They're probably on right now. They're like literally 20 hours a day.
Yeah, he was talking with some guy that was religious. I think he was Christian, and I think it was just him and him. It was maybe 3 people, the host and 2 other people. And I said, okay, if I get on, if they let me on. I was gonna ask the guy about like he had some stuff he was quoting, and I was just gonna ask him like, well, is this like any evidence on why you think it's true or just a belief? And because I think the host, once he hears me, he's gonna recognize me. It's just
right. But I don't think you should go on there unless you're gonna promote your material.
Yeah,
because
you're right.
you're not going to have a good conversation with them. I'm by no means whatsoever am I saying you're going to have a productive conversation. That's
what might be the smartest thing to do with them is to have pre-selected stuff, like say on this show here, like, okay, I'm going to go on there and I'm going to ask them about why did they ban underwater archaeological research off the coast of Brazil. And the first thing that I would, think that they would say is, oh, no, they didn't do that. Because remember, the first thing an evolutionist does is lie. And now when people start to realize that, and if people will remember that and say, wait a minute, this guy, MD, said that when you talk to these people, and I know the Christians are going to steal it and never give me any credit. And that's okay. That's okay, because that just goes in line with the majority of their thieving, lying, murderous, raping culture. Basically, not all Christians. You got some very beautiful people that are Christians, but the majority, straight butt pirates, just like the majority of every other religion. It's true. And but it
should be only I think you're giving them too much credit. I really do. I'm just trying to warn you ahead of time. These guys are goofballs. They're goofballs. It's just, I think when you finish your book, then you could promote your book. It'd be another source to promotion. But these guys are idiots, man. I'm telling you. I'm warning you ahead of time before you go on.
I wasn't going to go on there. It was just I was free for a few minutes before earlier, and I said, you know what? It was around 8. I think it was before that, maybe 7:30. And,
usually in the nighttime, they start around 11, 12 o'clock.
Yeah, no, this was in the morning.
I want to debate somebody, my bloodbath. I want to debate somebody.
Yeah. This was 7:30 a.m. today.
Yeah, they go 20. They're literally on all the time.
Yeah,
they're probably on right now.
Yeah, they were on, and I was like, okay, let me see real quick if I can jump on, and then I only stayed 5 minutes about backs, and then I left because I thought about what you were saying, and I said, you know what, maybe I should come when
I'm just trying to prepare you for when you get on. That's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
So you get taken by surprise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that way it'd be ingrained in your, when you get on there and you start hearing the bullshit, because these guys are bullshit. But you've been doing the research. So, because what they try to do is use obscure terminology. They do it on purpose, knowing that, because nobody knows every single study of every little detail.
Yeah.
But they use obscure terminology to try and trick you, to show that, oh, you just don't understand. You know what I mean? That's the game they play.
Yeah.
All the time. But you're pretty well versed, so I don't think they can pull one on you. But that's what they're gonna do. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, they're
And
not
once
gonna.
they see that you're on there, usually they like stink on doo doo. You know, like flies on doo doo. You know, I don't know how that's probably that's
Oh
what
yeah,
you're saying.
they're not
They
gonna be
should start
able
coming in. You know, like right now, if you were to go on there, they would all start jumping in, saying, "Who is this guy? You know, we want to
Yeah,
get him."
fine, fine. When I went in the last time and I started chopping heads, they paid the $2 to mute me, and
Yeah.
then somebody paid another. You know, same thing with the Christian King show. They paid like, you
Oh,
know,
they muted me too.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
twice. I didn't know why I was timed, like it had like a timer on for 2 minutes, and then they would give me another like 10 seconds on top of that. They would mute me, and then somebody was like, "Oh, they paid to mute you." Oh no, matter of fact, Lasagna was on there, and Lasagna let me know, and I was like, "Oh, that's why it was muted." And then they did it again, and then somebody donated like 2 or 3 times to ask a question to me. And you know,
Yeah.
I was like, "Hey, you know, thanks for donating to their show, whatever." And
Mhm.
and it was still kind of I mean, there were threats. There was a guy on there, you know, they were threatening, and then this lady came on, and I was like, "Look, you know, she was cool, and you know, I'm not religious. If somebody says God bless you, okay, God bless you too. You know, I'm not going to be disrespectful to somebody, like to show them that, look, I'll meet you halfway on your bullshit. Not saying it's bullshit. It's like saying, look, if that's the way you feel, cool. You want to say shalom, shalom. You want to say assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam. Fine. I know the response. Like Azroon, I think he would say sita ram. Okay, sita ram. You know, it's all about saying, hey, I've researched your religion. All right, that's your belief, is cool. I don't need to disrespect you, because that's going to say more about me than it does about you. It's going to show my behavior to a point. Now, of course, there's a point where I'm going to make jokes. I'm going to, you know, somebody might feel insulted, but hey, that's it's more of a squeeze to test them, to say, look, if you switch that the other way to me, I'm going to show you how to act when somebody insults you or somebody tells you something that might not sit too well. But a lot of people don't want to learn. A lot of people want to continue acting in the manner that they act in without
But
ever.
I would, no, I was just gonna say I would approach it like go on there to prove to them that their evolution, their atheism is a religion also. And one thing too is Tacos is a pretty fair guy. I mean, he's there for the money. So he's
Mhm.
never going to really ban you. If you're bringing in money, he'll
Yeah.
love to have you back and back and back. You know, that's one thing
Yeah,
about
I mean,
Tacos.
as soon as I clicked it, it was the ads. Like, I don't put ads anymore on the live stream. So anybody watching the show live is not going to encounter an ad. If
Mhm.
they do, please let me know, because that means YouTube is doing something. But I make sure there's, you know, I don't put, there's no advertisement right now. When I end the show, if I remember, I monetize it. So now anybody watching the show afterwards, the ads are going to pop up. Usually it's definitely not as much. I mean, it's like $15 a month. But if I do the ads at, you know, through the live show, it comes to like almost 80 a month. But I don't want people, you know, I want
I have
people,
YouTube Premium, so I never see them. That's why I
yeah,
never see
like,
them.
so only afterwards they will see the ad. So the people watching live, they get it ad free. Afterwards, okay, I'm going to monetize. It's not a lot. It would be great if I started getting views. You know, if I'm lucky. You've seen how much it's dropped. I'm lucky if I get 100 views on the live stream.
Sure.
And so, you know, if you're looking at $15 a month, I would need like 1,000 views just to get 150 a month, approximately.
But that's why it's good to get out there. It's just, you know, it's a business at the end of the day, you know, nothing personal. But
Yeah.
like one guy on there that you might want to debate is called Kurt. He's decent, but he's pro evolution totally all the way. There's another guy there, JL. That's just going to be an insult fest back and forth. That's all that's going to be. So don't even bother with him. But Kurt, he's a staunch evolutionist, so that would be a perfect matchup for you. He's always there. His name's Kurt. He's an older guy, but you'll see him.
But is he willing to is he one of those you don't understand the theory type of people?
Yeah, he is
Yeah.
one of those guys. Definitely is one of those guys. But you've done your research and you're prepared, so
Mhm.
he's not gonna be able to pull it over on you, you know, like he does with other people. But at least I'll give him credit. He doesn't resort to insults and personal attacks. The other guy,
Okay.
JL, he's totally ridiculous off the
Yeah.
handle.
Yeah, we might make progress then. And
And like I said, it's a great way to promote your work. I would definitely say, look, I've written a book on this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Promote your stuff by all means. Promote your stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No,
And
you're right.
just treat it as a business. Don't take it personal. It's not personal. It's you know what I mean. It's just media. It's you know what I'm saying. That's all it is. It's just getting exposure, getting out there. That's all it is at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? And you know
Yeah.
what? There's always a lot of theists on there. Not even, well, some religious, but some just don't believe in evolution. They're on there too, and they'll take your side. Trust me. When they have the polls, the voting at the end of the thing, it's never 100% that the atheist won. It's never 100%. It's usually like 60-40 or 60-30. Can you believe that on an atheist channel? They never win the debate. Like, 'cause they take a poll, who wins the debate at the end of your debate? You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow. That kind of sounds, yeah. There was a guy that debated Professor Dave, the fake professor.
Mhm.
I think he's religious, and he kind of Dave fumbled because he was talking about the code and the DNA being close to code, and he's like, don't you think it looks like code? He's like, so if you see a computer code or a book code or whatever, you know that it was done by a human mind. And Dave tried to deny it, and then he slipped, and it was like, yeah, it does look like code. And then he tried to say, well, just because it looks like code doesn't mean it does anything, or it was created. And like, immediately unicycle.
That's not even scientific. I mean, scientific would say it does do something. It's coded for a purpose.
Yes,
That's what
yes.
science is proving. So now you're not being scientific to
Yep.
prove your theory. You know, you're going back to you're going to your religion too. And of course, I'll never admit it. But you've been practicing at this. You've been doing your research, so it'll be a classic. You know what I'm saying? It's just at the end of the day, it's just exposure. That's all it is. You know.
Oh yeah, I think it would be great. I figured, when I tried today, yeah, it might have been. I just did it because it was like in the middle of I was getting ready to do something, and then I was like, oh, they're live, and I said, you know what? Let me try to jump on because the other night, days ago, when we ended it, Bro Sanchez was on, and he had about 500 people watching, and I was going to go on there, but it was like 2 a.m. and I was like, man, I need to get some sleep, so I was like, I just left it, but it would have been good because that's like right up the alley because he talks about all of the but
Well, right now is like the prime time is when they have it. Overnight. That's when they got their most views and everything like that. That's when
Mhm.
Andrew Wilson came on, and he got into it with them, But the views skyrocketed. So it's just more views, better. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody thinks like they do. That's the thing. You got to remember.
Yeah. Oh, he went on tacos.
He went on tacos. Yeah, he went on there to go back and forth. Yeah, and then the
Wow.
views exploded, of course.
Mhm.
So it's like that's the name of the game is just views. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. With them, I could see. I mean, yeah. I mean, you're right. I said I think I'll wait till I finish the book
Yeah, I think
before.
that's the perfect time to do it. Yeah, because then you can promote your stuff. There's a purpose behind it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because the purpose is not to convince anybody. The purpose is, and believe me, when you do a one-on-one debate, you're going to have plenty of time to just give all your information uninterrupted, unmuted. Because one-on-one debates, it's called the bloodbath. They
Mhm.
can't mute you or stop you. And Tacos is fair about that. He won't stop you. He's very fair. I'll give him credit for that. He is fair on his stream.
Oh, so
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah, that's definitely good that he. Yeah, I look forward to it, man. Once I get everything, like you said, in order, and
And
yeah,
if I find another channel that's good too, I'll let you know. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I'll let you know if
definitely.
I found it personally. That's the only one I've found so far.
Yeah, that one. I think there's like another one that I saw, but I forgot the name because sometimes it'll just pop up, and it's like, all right. But yeah, yeah, it's getting. I got to get up a little early, man. This is like already 1:37, man. This is like, oh man. But I want to stream every day. I've been trying to stream every day. I got on late today, like 11:45, 11:50 or
Worked for
something.
me because I couldn't have talked earlier, so I'm thankful for that.
Oh,
So,
cool, man. Yeah, you see how things work out. It's like there's no. Oh, Azraroon hopped on. Azraroon, man. Good to see you, man. I was about to
Uh,
end the show. Did you have anything, man?
yeah, I wanted to ask you something. You said that Americans they don't know their geography well at all, and when they plan an invasion, then they get to know that that country exists. Is the science and maths syllabus and geography and history, like these subjects, if you put them together, the syllabus that includes all these subjects, is it taught in a very bad way in the schools? Are the schools so bad, MD, for in America?
Yeah, yeah, they're actually that bad in America. They are so bad that teachers are saying kids can't read in like junior high school. They're not able. They have like a kids in high school have like a junior high school level of reading or lower, and it's like if you look into it's extremely bad. The public schools in America, they call them the public school trenches. And there was a teacher in New York City that wrote a book about it called Weapons of Mass Instruction. And oh, I forgot the name of the other one. He passed a few years ago, John Taylor Gatto. He was a teacher for 30 years in New York City in what he called the public school trenches, which they're horrible. They're literally horrible. I mean, it's like, it's not good. Who was the trying to think what was the other book. It was Weapons of Mass Instruction. Oh, Dumbing Us Down, I think was the name of the other one. And then the lady who was the head of the education during Reagan's administration was Charlotte Iserbyt. Now she was the nation's education head, and she has videos on YouTube saying how bad the education system is. It's crazy when you have people that at that level saying that the education system is meant to keep you dumb in a state of stupor, like a dazed kind of phase. I would think that people may need to take notice of that. But yeah, I was getting ready to call it a night, man. I appreciate you coming on as Varun.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone. Thanks, MD.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you, man, for coming on. I appreciate it, Scribe, and that guy, and everybody in the chat, man. Thank you guys
Yeah,
for being
thank-
here.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll
Bye.
talk
Yeah.
soon.
Bye, MD.
All right.
Okay.